Well, good morning. So let me continue with what from our previous session what we have learned. So I was talking about the storage feature, cloud storage. So we discussed about the overview of the cloud storage. It's the basic things where multiple data centers are actually been used, multiple servers have been used, organized to store the data. Okay, then uh, the cloud is actually providing the storage as a service to the its customers. So there are different providers out there which are providing the cloud storage services for us. Okay. Then we discussed about the security issues also. To make the data secure, it should be in some encrypted form, and it has to undergo some authentication process, and authorized persons are allowed to access it. So the reliability is also an issue here. So if it is unreliable, nobody would like to use the cloud storage to store the data. Then we discussed about the advantages of this. Then what type of cautions we need to take into consideration. From here, we have to continue. So whenever you want to move towards the cloud, you should be very cautious. You need to be careful. Why? Because you should have a total confirmation about whether your data will be secured on your with your cloud provider or not. So at the budding stages of cloud, because as I mentioned earlier, that when this book was written, your cloud computing was at a budding stage, in a starting stage. So many people are actually uh, have some fear whether to move towards the cloud or not. So, because the larger enterprises have the difficulty with the vendors like Google or Amazon, because they are forced to rewrite the solutions of their applications, and there is a lack of portability. Because the enterprises has to rewrite their applications to cope up with the Google or Amazon, larger vendor means the big vendors. And another thing here is the cloud storage seems to means when it comes to the cloud storage seem to be price and reliability. This is where you need to vet your vendor to ensure that you are getting a good deal with the quality service. Means when you are going to pay for them, you need to have a confirmation whether you are going to have a quality service or not. So at that time, what the companies have done is they started using the cloud approach as an appetizer, means as a starter. In the sense, they used to test. They used to actually test with one or two services, uh, and they used to look whether it is good for your organization or not. So if it is good, they used to adopt cloud more and more. So in the testing stage, what the companies have done here is they used to see whether they can be measured with the existing IT systems or not. Okay. Another point here is the legal issues are also important for because when some copyrighted material is placed on the cloud, okay, such an option might not be possible for licensing reasons. Means when you are want to have copyrighted material on the cloud, so for some licensing problems, you will come across with some licensing problems. That's the reason why you need to think about whether you need to put the content on the cloud or not. And also the accountability of your storage provider, keeping in mind the accountability of your storage provider is also important, because vendors offer different assurances with the maintenance of the data. They may offer the service, but make sure that you know exactly what your vendor will do and will not do in case of data loss or compromise. Means you should have a clear idea about what your vendor is going to do when some data losses has occurred, how when data is got compromised, how he is going to deal the situation. You should have a clear idea with that. Okay. uh, uh, then you have when you speak about the outages also, means sometimes if when you are putting whole data on the cloud, and if you are provide your provider is actually not available. Your provider is not available. In such case, okay, what you have to do, how fast he is going to recover from such situation. That is also an important here. Of course, see here one example is given that Amazon S3 uh, has an outage in February 2008. So because of that, number of clients have gone offline. Number of clients have gone offline. There means if the data is not available, we are not able to work. So in such cases, how fast they are going to recover from the situation, whether they are recovered without the loss of data is also important. Okay. So the point remains, however, the clients were not able to access their data as they had intended. So you need to be cautious when deciding to pursue a cloud option or not. So whenever there is an outage, whenever your cloud provider is not available for you, then what you have to look for is uh, what you have to do here is you need to decide how you are going to handle that situation. Okay, next is about the theft here. Theft means if your data is lost, when it is actually if your data got stolen or viewed by those who are not authorized to see that. Okay, so whenever your data is let out of your data center, you risk trouble from the security point. You risk trouble from the security point. You have a risk here. So what type of risk here? Because your data will be placed on the storage device, which is mixed up with others data also. Others data also. So for example, two companies are there, A and B are there. If those two companies are A and B are competitors of compete with each other, then the data of A as well as data of B both are actually being placed in the same pot. They are placed in the same uh, uh, storage area, and there is a risk that the competitor may see your proprietary information. There is a chance that they may see your information. So if you do store your data on the cloud, make sure you're encrypting the data and securing data transmit with the technologies like SSL. So secure socket layer, if you're using, means you need to have a confirmation that your data is kept in a encrypted form, as well as the data is transferred securely using SSL here. So next you need to decide whether you should go for cloud or not. Yeah, as an organization level, if you are thinking at an organization level, you need to have an idea whether you want to move towards cloud or not. So, by considering all the above things here, the advantages, the issues regarding the outages, so what type of cautions you have to take, or how data is secured, or whether it is available or not. Thinking all about that, you need to have you should have an you should take a decision whether you move towards the cloud or not. So, see, a simple mistake may be costly. Like, for example, it is given here, for instance, if you're sending a data using SSL and you should send it using SSL, do you trust your programmers? Means, are you trusting your means? The programmers should be very, very uh, uh, cautious in the sense a simple mistake like if you're not replacing HTTP, yes, if you're simply writing HTTP instead of HTTPS, then transfers the data on the files at a risk there. So you should have a clear idea about whether we have to move towards your cloud or not. Then you have the cloud storage providers. So the next topic which we will discuss on today in the coming class will be about the various storage providers which are available. So there are a lot of storage providers which are in the market. So each offering the services in their own sense here. So there are some very big storage providers. Some of them are being discussed here, like Amazon and Nirvanix. Uh, okay, and also the Google is also been discussed here. Okay, and also EMC and also IBM. So some of the this cloud storage providers have been discussed in our syllabus. So we will discuss about the Amazon S3 now. The next Amazon S3, the simple storage service. It is a best known cloud storage service which is launched in 2006. So it's designed to make the web scaling computing easier for developers. So, so scaling web scale computers has been made easier for the developers. The simple service interface that can be used to store and retrieve any amount of information at any time from anywhere on the web. So what you can do here is you can store the information at any time, anywhere. You can scale up, means as required. If more amount of storage is required, simply you can scale up. Otherwise, you can come down accordingly as per your requirement. So it gives any developers to access the same highly scalable data storage infrastructure that Amazon uses to run its own global network website. So what it is doing here, it is giving an developers to access the same highly scalable data storage infrastructure, which Amazon itself is using. What itself is using, the same type of storage structure infrastructure is actually offered by the Amazon S3. The service aims to maximize the benefits of scale and to pass those benefits to the developer. So the main aim here is to maximize the benefits of scale here. So maximum benefits it wants to provide to its customers, and pass those benefits as well as to the developers here. So Amazon S3 is intentionally built with a minimal feature set that includes read, write, delete objects containing 1 byte to 5 gigabytes of data each. So what you can do here, you can read, you can write, and you can delete objects containing data up to from 1 byte to 5 gigabytes of data. Each object is of size 1 byte to 5 gigabytes of data, and each object is stored and retrieved via unique developer assigned key. Means for every object, a developer assigned key is having, and you can use that key to access that object here. And objects can be made private, public, and rights can be assigned to the specific user. So what you can do here, whatever the information you are storing via objects, they can be made public or private. So and they can be assigned to specific users. Means if it is private, nobody can access except the owner of that particular object. And if it is made public, you know that the public, in the sense, a public object can be accessed by anyone. And it uses a standard-based REST and SOAP interfaces designed to work with any internet development toolkit. So it uses the standards, the RES, representational state transfer, and simple object access protocol interfaces designed to work with any internet development toolkit. So what are the design requirements? So this S3 is actually designed with some specific requirements, design requirements. So what design requirements it is built here is scalable. First is it is scalable in the sense it can scale in terms of storage, request rate, and user to support unlimited number of web scale applications. So means in terms of storage, request rate, and users,
Sir,
and it
voice cut
supports.
అవుతుంది.
Hello,
వాయిస్ బ్రేక్ అవుతుంది సార్.
break అవుతుంది. ఇప్పుడు
ఓకే సార్.
okay now it is scalable in the sense here it can be easily, as per requirement, the storage capacity can be increased as per the request rate and the users. It supports unlimited number of web scaling applications. Next, another design requirement which was fulfilled is store data durability with 99.99% availability. Okay, so what they have planned here is when they are designing, there is no downtime. Means the data is available 99.99%. Then it is designed in such a way that the data can be fast enough to support the high performance application. So the Amazon S3 is designed to be fast enough to support high performance applications. So So server-side latency means availability must be insignificant relative to the internet latency. Any performance bottlenecks can be fixed by simply adding nodes to the system. Means so if suppose any internet latency means server-side latency. If suppose server is available, if internet is not available, what they will do here is if there is any tight situation, they will simply add the nodes to bring the data as fast as possible to the customer there. And also it is built, Amazon S3 is built from an inexpensive commodity hardware component. So very inexpensive commodity hardware components are used to build up this. So as a result, frequent node failure is the norm and must not affect the overall system. It must be the hardware agnostic so that the savings can be captured as Amazon continues to drive down infrastructure costs. So though it is built with a low infrastructure costs, so it should be available. They have designed in such a sense that if there is any failure, immediately it can be overcome by some other new system. And building highly scalable, reliable, fast, and inclusive storage is difficult. Doing in a way that it makes it easy for any application anywhere is more difficult. Amazon S3 must do the part. Means what they have the design uh, uh, requirement here is they should build up. Means when they are building, what they have put in their mind is they have to build up a very highly scalable, reliable, fast, and inexpensive storage. So all features coming in one pack is somewhat difficult, but yet they have struggled hard to deliver such service to the customers. Okay. Uh, uh, a forcing function of design was that a simple S3 distributed system must support the needs of both internal Amazon application and external developers of any application. It means they have designed a distributed system. When it is distributed, you know about the distributed architecture where uh, um, whatever the type of features which are available will be distributed among the various systems. So those can be used both by the Amazon applications as well as external developer applications. Means there it must be fast and reliable enough to run Amazons.com websites, while flexible enough for any developers to use it for any storage data storage needs. Which means they have used the systems where they are very fast enough to run this Amazons.com website, and also it is available for the users for the data storage. So, of course, in some design principles, if we talk here, so those are the design requirements which we had discussed earlier. Now, if we talk about the design principles, so some of the design principles of S3 includes the decentralization, means it uses fully decentralized techniques to remove scalable bottlenecks and single points of failure. As I said here, that when we are using a distributed architecture, so it is decentralized. The work is decentralized. It is distributed among the various among the various points. So if if there is one failure, the other is going to take up and continue the work there. And also the autonomy, in the sense the system is designed so that the individual components can make decisions based upon the local information. Means they are not actually depending upon the main server. If any decision is to be made, it is taken by the local by the individual components based upon the local information. They won't wait for someone else. The main server should respond. So with the available information, they are going to take up the decisions. So local responsibility, in the sense when it is autonomy, so each individual component is responsible for achieving its consistency. That is, this is never a burden to its peers. Means it is not depending upon the other peers systems there, other systems. So it is having its own burden. It is having its own local responsibility. And also because controlled concurrency, the concurrency control is also achieved with in such a way that the operations are designed with no or limited concurrency control requirements. So very less concurrency control requirements. So in DBMS we might have learned about this when concurrent systems means concurrency control, where two or more transactions accessing the same information, you need to follow some rules so that the data remains consistent. So such concurrency control can be eliminated, or there is no concurrency control or limited concurrency control is required. They are designed in such a way, means the data will be secured. And also the controlled parallelism, in the sense abstractions used in the systems are such granularity, means in such a fine granular level that parallelism can also improve the performance and robustness of recovery or the introduction of new nodes. So parallelly the systems can work, and no more and more new nodes can be introduced without any problem. And it is small, well understood building blocks. So do not try to provide a single service that does everything for everyone, but instead build small components that can be used as a building blocks for the other services. Means not providing a single service that does everything for everyone. Means do not try to provide a single service that does everything for everyone. Not a single service which is doing all the work there, because instead of that, what we are doing here, we are building up a single components that can be used for building blocks for other services. And also there is a symmetry, in the sense nodes in the system are identical in terms of functionality and require no minimal node specific configuration to function, because the same type of configuration, same type of systems are being used. They are symmetric to each other, and the system should be made as simple as possible, but not simpler. So you design it in as simple as possible, but not much simpler there. So adopt such techniques which provide you the security, reliability, as well as the good performance, which gives a good performance. Next, if we talk about how the S3 works actually. So when talking about the S3 here, see the S3 design aims at providing scalability, high availability, and low latency. S3 stores, as we had discussed, they can store up to 1 byte to 5 gigabytes of 5 gigabytes of gigabyte size of objects. Okay, each object is actually having up to 2 KB of metadata. You know what is metadata? Metadata is data about the data. So objects are organized by buckets. So all these objects are organized by buckets here. Each bucket is owned by the AWS account. So each account means each bucket is actually owned by an AWS account. So to use them, you need to have an AWS Amazon Web Services account, and the buckets are identified by the unique user assigned key. As we had discussed earlier, that each object is having this unique user assigned key. Okay, so buckets are the objects created, listed and retrieved using the REST style or SOAP. As I told you, they are actually the listed, they are created, they are listed and used, retrieved using the REST and SOAP interfaces. So we have the much more things to learn forward regarding the REST and SOAP later on. So objects can be retrieved using the HTTP GET interface. So if you talk, you might have learned in your web technologies that the HTTP is having a GET interface where it is going to retrieve the information as required, or you can retrieve it using the BitTorrents also. Torrent is actually a file that's sent via BitTorrent protocol. Torrent is nothing but is a file which is sent via BitTorrent protocol. So an access control list restricts who can access the data in the bucket, each bucket. So another very interesting point here is that the data can be accessed only by those who are having the permission. Not all can access it. Okay, not all can access it. Only authorized persons can access the data. So bucket names and keys are formulated so that they can be accessed using HTTP. The bucket names are actually formulated in such a way that they can be accessed using the HTTP. Requests are authorized using the control list associated with each bucket. So control means whatever the control list is there, as I just discussed that. Based upon that, means what type of operation you can do on the data, whether you are just meant for reading, whether you are meant for editing the data, or you have an option of deleting it. So basing upon that, the data can be accessed. So you have various the Amazon AWS authentication tools allows the bucket owner to create an authenticated URL with a set amount of time that the URL will be valid. So what you can do here is, if you are if you want to permit someone to access the information, uh, to allow someone to access the information, what your AWS authentication tool will do is, it will allow you to create an URL. So you can restrict that URL for a valid amount of time. Means, for example, if you are sharing an URL with your friend to view the data, so it will work only for 10 minutes or 20 minutes or some 10 hours or whatever the time you are fixing there. So based upon the time, it is available and you can access the information. Once the time is lapsed, um, the data is lost. Not lost, actually, cannot view the data. And also the bucket items can be also be organized via a BitTorrent feed, enabling S3 to act as a seed for the client. Okay, buckets can also set up to save HTTP log information to another bucket. Means what you can do here is you can also access the information via the BitTorrent. As I told you, BitTorrent is a protocol where used to send a file, enabling us to access the seed for the client. And it has a log information. You can set to have a log information, means you can record the information as required of another bucket also. And this information can be used later for the data mining. So when you're mining the data, when you're searching for the data, then you can use this information for data mining. And S3 lets the developer to pay only for what they consume, and there is no minimum period. So another interesting point here is you can just pay only for what you are using. Okay, not extra things you are supposed to pay. Okay, only the thing here is whatever you are using, only for such part you are going to pay. So what are the early S3 applications? The science team of University of California, Berkeley, responsible for NASA's standard Stardust at Home project, is using S3. So the early applications which are using this S3 is the University of California, Berkeley, which is responsible for NASA's Stardust at Home project. Means they use the S3 to store and deliver 60 million images that represent the data collected from their dust particle aerogel experiments. Means whatever the experiments they have done, they have collected some 60 billion images. So to store that 60 million images, they use Amazon S3. These images will be delivered to around 100,000 volunteers around the world who can scan the images looking for dust particles from the comet while flow. Okay, so for analysis purpose, those images are available to the various volunteers where they can work on that. So only the thing here which we are supposed to understand is, for storing 60 million pages images, you require huge amount of storage space. And at the same time, if you want to make it available to all the volunteers who are working around that, again, just imagine that if you are not having the storage, uh, cloud storage cloud storage, then you have to copy it to different people. You have to give the copies to the different people who are working on that. Instead of that, what you are doing, simply you are placing it in the cloud, and who is having the permission, they're simply accessing that information. So that is the beauty of cloud storage. That is the beauty of cloud, where it is available, where you can collaborate with each other, and then you can work. So next hmm, next type of cloud storage which is available is about Nirvanix. We will discuss this, and we will conclude that Nirvanix uses the custom developed software and file system technologies running on Intel storage servers at 6 locations on both coasts of United States. So Nirvanix, actually, it is having its own custom developed software and a file system technology which is running on storage servers at 6 different locations. and they continue to grow and expect to add dozens of more servers. So later on, they have added more and more servers there. So this Nirvanic storage delivery network (SDN) storage delivery network turns a standard one-use server into an infinite capacity network attached storage. Means it is turning the standard one-use server into an infinite capacity network storage attached storage file accessible by popular applications and immediately integrates into the organization existing archive and backup process. So what it is doing, so it has an infinite capacity network attached storage, which is actually integrating itself into an existing archive and backup process. So Nirvanic sector has built a global cluster of storage nodes. So it has a global structure of cluster of storage nodes collectively referred as storage delivery network. So it has a global cluster. So a lot of storage nodes are there, which are actually clustered storage nodes which are being clustered, and it is called as a storage delivery network, powered by Nirvanic's Internet Media File System. So the file system which is followed here is Nirvanic's Internet IMFS, Internet Media File System. So the SDN intelligently stores, delivers, and process storage requests in the best network location, providing best user experience in the marketplace. So this SDN, the storage delivery network, can store the data, deliver the data, and processes the data storage requests intelligently in the best possible way. With the availability to store multiple file copies in multiple geographical nodes, the SDN enables unparalleled data availability for the developers, businesses, and enterprises, because the data is stored in multiple copies in multiple geographical areas, not at one place. It is stored in different places. So because of that, so it enables unparalleled data availability for the developers, businesses, and enterprises. The Nirvanix Cloud NAS for Linux mounts Nirvanix storage delivery network as a virtual drive that can be accessed via NFS, CIFS, or FTP. So the Nirvanix Cloud NAS, which is actually designed for Linux, mounts the Nirvanix SDN as a virtual drive. So it is a virtual drive. Imagine it, that can be accessed via the NFS, the network file system, the FTP file transfer protocol, and CIFS, the common internet file system. Okay, so this after installation, the storage administration can apply the standard file directory or access permissions, and the users on the network can access the network map drive from their existing applications or storage sources. So once it has been installed, what the administrator is going to do, he is going to apply the standard file directory or access permission. So whatever the permissions which can be applied at a file level or a directory level, okay, and now the users can access it accordingly. So Nirvanix actually additionally, storage administration can get access to the robust Nirvanix SDN functionality such as automated policy-based file replications, single global namespace that scales to petabytes. So what you can do, it is additionally providing a robust, very strict SDN functionality, which is automated policy-based file replication. So it is automated. So on specific policy-based, the files will be replicated. So single global namespace, you have a single global namespace which scale up to petabytes of data. You have a secured storage. You have an encrypted data on which is stored on one or more global clustered storage nodes. So the benefits of this cloud network storage network attached storage is that the cost saving is about 80 to 90% over managing traditional storage solutions. So you can save up to 80 to 90% of cost, eliminates large capacity expenditures. So you can eliminate the larger capacity expenditures, which enables 100% storage utilization. You can have you can utilize the storage up to 100%. So you have an encrypted offsite storage that integrates into an existing archive and backup process. So you have an encrypted offset storage. So you can store the files in an encrypted form, which integrates into the existing archive and backup. Means, suppose already some files have been stored archive in the sense taking backup and storing it. It's like a library where the data is stored. So it integrates into that part also, and it has a backup process. So built in data disaster recovery. So this is another interesting feature that we have an built-in data disaster recovery and automated data replication on up to 3 geographical dispersed storage nodes for 100% SLA. See, this point is very interesting point that it has its own built-in disaster recovery. Means the data can be recovered, and automated data replication means that the data can be replicated automatically up to 3 geographical dispersed locations. So data will be stored at 3 different locations automatically without uh, pri- uh, without the manual involvement. Automatically the data is stored and it will be available. Because of that, it has a gives the 100% SLA. The service level agreement means if one node fails, the data can be available from other. So immediately availability to data in seconds versus hours or days on offline tape. So if suppose the data is stored on tapes, there it may take hours or days sometimes to access the information. But here the information is available to us at an instance. So this cloud NAS, the network attached storage, is aimed at the companies that maintain repositories of actual backup and unstructured data that require long-term secure storage, or organizations that use automated processes to transfer files to map drives. So what does it mean here is who is going to use this type of structure? The companies which are maintaining the repositories, the huge amount of archival the old data, the backups, or unstructured data. So which requires the long-term secure storage. It means because for a longer period of time, if they want to store the data, then for such people, this Nirvanic Cloud and ACE is very effective. Okay. And also for the organization who use the automated process to transfer the files to the mapper drives. So if suppose you want to transfer the information to the mapper drives automatically, then you can go for this Nirvanics. So also, the NAS is free to use for companies who have 2 terabytes or greater contract with Nirvanix, and optional 24/7 support is offered at $200 per month per server. Means you can free to use this for the companies who have 2 terabytes or greater contract with Nirvanix. And also you can have a 24/7 support for only those people who are paying around $200 per month. And the companies who do not have the Nirvanix account can take part in an Experience Nirvanix Now. The Trails allows you to have an unlimited use of Nirvanix tools, including Cloud NAS and up to 50 GB for 15 days risk-free. Means if you want to just test how the Nirvanix is working, so you can go for this Experience Nirvanix Now, so which offers you 50 GB of data as a trial period for 15 days. Okay, then we need to talk about the Google Bigtable data store, and then the Mobile Me, another Live Mesh. Microsoft which is providing Live Mesh. These few things we will be covering in the tomorrow's class. Okay. Any doubts, Mahesh?
No, sir.
Okay, fine, Amma. I'll see you tomorrow mostly the same time. I'll take the class. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Then I will inform you in the group. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.